Shalom Israel. We could continue where we left off before in the book of Hosea, the first chapter, the 11th verse. And again, the title of this show is called The Judgment and Restoration of Both Northern and Southern Kingdom, because that's what the whole thing is about. The Messiah is going to come and redeem both houses, both Northern and Southern Kingdom. Again, chapter 1, verse 11. I'm going to start off there again. Then shall the children of Yehudah and the children of Yasha'Allah be gathered together. And the reason why I say they should be gathered together, because right at this present point here, they're not gathered together. There's still a split between Northern and Southern Kingdom. That envy, that hatred, still exists today. But the prophecy explains to us in detail that there will be an ingathering, or there will be a reunification of both Northern and Southern Kingdom. That was the promise that was made to us, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and we're looking forward to that, where there's going to be a reunification of the brotherhood, both Northern and Southern Kingdom. That's extremely, extremely important. Then shall the children of Yehudah and the children of Yasha'Allah be gathered or regathered, and appoint themselves one head. And who's that head? The head is the Messiah. We would no longer be dealing with a Republican Party and a Democratic Party and all this stuff here. We're going to be dealing with pure righteousness. We talk about a king that's going to last forever. And that king is Hamashiach Yahawashai, who is called in tones Yeshua. All right? And they, which is the nation of Israel, both houses, shall come out of the land. What land are they going to come out of? They're going to come out of the land of their enemies. Right now, we're in exile. We must understand that. I don't care how much money or how much gain you have out here in this world today, you're still in the land of exile. All right? Because this is about a community. Just because you get 10 people that are millionaires or billionaires within inside of the nation, that means nothing if your brothers and sisters are still poor. This is about a community. This is about community responsibility. And this is about having love for one another. All right? This is about a collective thing. This is not about one individual. The Messiah is going to come and redeem the remnant. It is very important that we understand that also. Only a remnant is going to return, and the Messiah is coming to reunify both Northern and Southern Kingdom. All right? And they shall come out of the land, and the land is the land of the exile, for great shall be the day of the scattering. Because just like I brought out earlier, the word Jezreel is very important, because the word Jezreel means to scatter. The Messiah scattered Northern Kingdom. The word no mercy is also associated with Northern Kingdom, and the word is lo ruhama. Very important. And then you have the word lo ami. The word lo ami means not my people. That means that Northern Kingdom was given a bill of divorce because she refused to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. All right? So the word Jezreel is talking about the regathering of the scattered. Very important. The regathering of the scattered. That's the reason why I brought out James 1:1 and 1 Peter's 1:1, where it talks about the scattered. Who was the scattered? During that time, the scattered was being referred to Northern Kingdom. Very important. Let me just go back to that again and just touch on it. All right? It's just that what has to happen is that if you see me saying a lot of things over and over again, because this has to be second nature to us. And at this late stage of the game, it's so amazing how this is not yet second nature to us to follow and want to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. Again, this has to be the same as you breathing. You have to walk, think, and be so assimilated in the husband, in following Torah, where it's like spewing out of your pores. Very, very important. We have to meditate on this thing day and night with your wives, with your children. Stay consistent in following the laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, we're going to go to James 1:1, and we're talking about the word scattered. Okay, because Hosea spoke about a people that was being or called scattered. All right, and that word scattered is the word Jezreel. James, a servant of the Messiah, or of the Most High, and the Messiah, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, shalom. All right, I read it again. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Messiah, to the 12 tribes which are scattered, Jezreel, it's the same word, Jezreel, all right, which are scattered abroad, greetings, shalom. The Messiah had came and died to reunify both northern and southern kingdom. That's what we have to be thankful for. Not this whole thing about Thanksgiving, the way that is celebrated, okay, amongst the Gentiles. When I say the Gentiles here, I'm talking about the other nations outside of the 12 tribes. Because what has happened now is that we've become so embedded in the philosophy of Greek and Roman theology. That Thanksgiving has nothing to do with us. When it says here, greetings, the greetings and the peace that we have and the thanks that we have and that we appreciate is that the Messiah dying for the nation of Israel, and it's about reunification. It's very, very important that we understand that. Now let's go back to Hosea, the 11th chapter. And they, which is both northern and southern kingdom, shall come out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel, or the day of the scattering, or the regathering of both northern and southern kingdom. And I have some notes here which are very important. We talk about the regathering of the scattered, the return of the exile, and we talked about the ingathering. And the ingathering is associated with the word Feast of Tabernacles. And I'll go into that a little bit deeper like I spoke about earlier. Now let's go to Jeremiah 3:18, which is going to also help us to elaborate on, again, the judgment and restoration of northern and southern kingdom. This is about our people. Okay, we have to understand that we're not being biased, prejudiced, and all these other things. It's just that you can't put the cart before the horse. That's very, very important. And an analogy that I like to use is the Messiah. The Messiah went to a party, and I put it in layman's terms the way that we find our wives today. All right, a man, which is the Messiah, he goes about amongst a whole lot of people. And he sees a particular woman. And that particular woman was the nation of Israel that he called amongst all the other women that was on the planet Earth. And that woman was the nation of Israel. All right. And that people is a set apart people to show forth the praises and the glory that he's given them. All right. Very simple and plain. Okay. Jeremiah 3:18. I just wanted to bring that out. This is about proper order. Jeremiah 3:18. We're talking about now the restoration. In those days, when it says in those days, we're talking about doing messianic times in the future, because it has not happened yet. The nation of Israel is still dispersed amongst the four corners of the earth. All right, we have to understand that. Just because you see a few brothers over there in Israel today, that means nothing. Okay, we talk about collectively, the whole house is going back into the land of Israel. And just to set the record straight, that whole land has to be purged, cleaned out. All right? I just want to throw that in there too. In those days, was referring to future times, in messianic times, in those days, the house of Yehudah shall walk with. And the operative word is with. With is reunification. With is pertaining to community. With is together. Right now, both northern and southern kingdom is not together. This is future prophecy. So again, where it says, in those days, the house of Yehudah shall walk with the house of Yasha'Allah. There are two houses, both northern and southern kingdom. And what's going to happen now, that the word with is also associated with grafting, okay, or being adopted back into the fold. So we see this word with has a substantial definition. With is talking about both northern and southern kingdom being grafted back in to the main source, the roots, okay, that gives the substance, that gives the energy back into one fold. The Messiah, he's the veins, he's the roots, and the roots give nutrients to the branches. And we understand that there was a split. But there's going to be a reunification where we will be grafted back in together, one stick, getting the proper nutrients that we need to grow, and those nutrients is the Torah. Very important that we understand that. We're talking about reunification. We have to make sure that we understand how these words are being written, how to make assimilations, and how to make sure that we understand when we go to the New Testament that Paul and these brothers here is not coming with a new doctrine. It's still the same thing. It's talking about the reunification of both northern and southern kingdom. Simple. Let me finish this up here. In those days, the house of Yehuda shall walk with the house of Yasha'Allah, and they. The they is talking about both northern and southern kingdom, and they shall come together out of the land of the north, talking about exile, to the land which I given for an inheritance unto your fathers. And what land was that? That land is Jerusalem. That's your homeland. Right now, at this particular point, I can't say this enough, we are in exile. We're in exile because we broke the laws, statutes, and commandments. All right? We are going under now Greek and Roman theology. Our people break the Torah by following Christmas, Thanksgiving, Kwanzaa, 4th of July, Valentine's Day. All of these, none of those pagan days has anything to do with us. Now, and that's just the basics of it, but it goes to in so much more detail in why we're being exiled out into the nations and how we follow all of these Greek customs that has nothing to do with us. This is about us, again, remembering what are the conditions, what happened at Mount Sinai. That's very important. The Messiah said, I do. The nation of Israel said, I do. That's a covenant. That's an agreement. And we have to come back into covenant relationship. This is the reason why we were exiled out into the nations. I'm going to read it again. In those days the house of Yehuda shall walk with the house of Yasha'Allah, and they shall come together out of the land of the north. Out of the land of the north, we talk about now restoration. But restoration, before restoration happens, okay, you must repent and acknowledge that you've done something wrong. And what's happening with our people is that we refuse to re-examine ourselves and understand that something is wrong with the picture. We collectively is not showing forth the image of the husband. And that's very important. If you don't show forth the image of the husband, then you're not the bride. My wife can only be a representative of me when she's following the terms and the conditions to the marriage. Then she has the right to bear my name. But if she's out there in the world doing who knows what, she's no longer bearing my image. So she's a Gentile. Okay? That's on a physical level, the marriage between me and my wife. But on a spiritual level, it's the same thing, because one mirrors the next. The same type of relationship that we have with our wives and our children is the same relationship, and even more far superior, the relationship that we're supposed to have with the husband, which is the groom, which is the Messiah. We have to make sure that we walk in accordance to the laws, statutes, and commandments. This is how you bear the name. All right? I'm going to say this again. How do you bear the name? You bear the name by walking in the laws, statutes, and the commandments. This is what sets you apart. Just because you are of the biological seed means nothing if you're not walking in Torah. That's very, very important. Just because I'm of the biological seed of Israel, all right, that doesn't automatically give me preference over anything. I have to follow the agreements. It gets no simpler than that. Let me finish this verse up again. Out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance. This is your inheritance. If you do right, you get to live in the land, all right, and reap all of the benefits of the land. That's an inheritance. All right? Make sure we understand the scriptures. All right? It's all here. And with that, I'm going to have to stop and continue on with restoration, or the judgment and the restoration of Israel. Shalom.